Ladies and gentlemen, Andy here. I'm not wearing any pants right now. If I can show up to work without pants, you sure as hell can too. Let's have a little bit of a chill episode today, answer some of your questions. But before I do, I want to really start by saying you're all doing a fucking fabulous job. I know a lot of you have fears, doubts, insecurities. You're like, am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to build the sex and dating life I want, or build a business, or lose weight, or find happiness, or be okay? I promise you will. I promise you're doing a good job. I know you feel doubts. I know sometimes you think you're not going to make it. Just keep going. All right, let's answer some questions. And yes, I really am not wearing any pants today. Van Diemen Vita says, first time back on Bumble in 18 months. Really good job. I know it can be a little bit intimidating getting back on the dating apps or even going on the dating apps in the first place. You're worried about being rejected. You're worried about not getting any matches. You go on to say, I get lots of matches, but low interest women, a lot of ghosting when I ask to set the date. I needed to hear this video, thank you. And the video was just a motivational video. So I've talked about this quite a lot. The timing is really hilarious because literally yesterday I did a coaching call with someone and he said 9 out of 10 women that match with me don't end up meeting me for a date. And he was sort of beating himself up, feeling really down about it. And I kind of laughed and I was like, dude, that's the same as me. 9 out of 10 girls that match with me, they don't end up meeting me. We don't end up sleeping together. They don't even show up for a date or give me a phone number. Like 9 out of 10 matches don't really go anywhere. And that's the same with most of my coaching clients. It's the same with even my really attractive friends. It's 9 out of 10 that don't end up meeting. So it's very normal. I promise ghosting is part of the game. Your mission here is, you're already kind of doing it, but don't focus so much on the ghosting. Don't worry about that. Like you're kind of getting a little bit caught up here. Like I'm getting a lot of low interest women. Take them out of your mind. Don't worry about it. Focus on the ones that do meet up with you. And if the dating apps or Bumble is getting a little frustrating for you and you're not getting any dates, go on Tinder and Hinge as well. I recommend you use as many dating apps as you possibly can. And then if that isn't working out for you, obviously take better pictures, work on all of that stuff. But you can go outside and talk to women. Like there are infinite women outside. So you have lots of abundance. You have lots of options. I know the dating apps can sometimes get a little frustrating. On my channel, if you go and just search for the word burnout, you'll see this video here. Are you frustrated by no results? Are you feeling a bit of Tinder burnout, or in your case, Bumble burnout? If you're feeling that, part of what I say on here is obviously you can improve your pictures, all of that, but you're allowed to just not use the apps. If they're frustrating you a little bit, you can go outside, go say hi to women, and for the most part, out on the street, women won't really ignore you. They won't always be available, obviously. Like they might have a boyfriend, but they kind of talk to you. Whereas on dating apps, a lot of the time you'll message a girl, hi, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Here's my, first message. And she just never replies because she has a billion other people talking to her. Out on the street, it's just you and her. And yes, some women will ignore you when you hit on them in person, but that's pretty rare. The vast majority will at least be nice enough to you and say, hi, okay, I'll talk to you for 10 seconds and tell you I have a boyfriend. So you at least get like some feedback. It doesn't feel so much like you're being ignored. So in short, you're doing a really good job, my man. Great job putting yourself back out there on Bumble. I would go on Hinge and Tinder as well, especially Tinder. But I like Hinge as well. I wouldn't just be using Bumble. And yeah, if you get frustrated, go outside and talk to more women. But good job, man. Really good job. Always Alex Zero says, I stand by everything this guy says in his Tinder guide, and the Tinder guide that he's referring to is over on my website at killyourinnerloser.com. There's a button at the top of the page, completely free Tinder guide. Covers everything from self-improvement, taking better pictures, messaging people, what to do before the date, what to do on the date, how to have foreplay, how to have sex, and then how to build it out into a either casual friends with benefits relationship or a proper full-on relationship. So it covers literally everything. I lost my virginity thanks to his Tinder guide. Amazing, man. That's so cool. And I also met my current girlfriend, who's extremely loyal thanks to this guide. Cool. That's sort of the end part of the guide, of that Tinder guide. I talk about, how to build a loyal, beautiful relationship where you add to her life, she adds to yours. That's amazing. If I ever have to start dating again, I wouldn't follow or listen to anyone else but him. Amazing, dude. I'm so fucking happy for you and happy for her. That's really, really, really cool. Like I said, the Tinder guide is over on my website, completely free. You don't have to enter your email address or any of that over there. Go check that out if you're interested. But good job, man. This is really cool. Big win. Everybody feel free to leave a comment in the comment section saying Alex is a legend and his girlfriend's a legend too, even though we don't know her, but she's probably a legend. And I mentioned this in a recent video, but I've started to do a little bit more content about online dating, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, and all of that. And so this is the first video in that sort of series that I've made. So you can go and check this video out if you want. But if any of you have any particular questions or any topics you want me to cover when it comes to, I guess, the whole dating process, like from self-improvement to taking better pictures to messaging, what to do on the date, what to do before the date, what to do after the date, how to have sex, how to have better sex, all of that kind of stuff, even relationships and retention and all of that, just leave a comment below. Like, tell me which topics you want me to cover first. I'm going to cover all of that eventually, but it might take me, I mean, there's a lot to cover there, so it might take me the next year or two, by the time I do a couple of hundred videos about everything. But if there's something in particular you want, just tell me, guys. Like, I'm always pretty open to feedback. You can always tell me what you would like me to talk about. All right, this next comment comes from our resident legend, expert cheek clapper, who says, also, lower your standards. Nothing wrong with meeting a woman who's maybe got a few extra pounds, etc. They're just as awesome to hang out with. So a mindset that I like to have, or the way that I phrase it, rather than saying lowering your standards, which is not particularly kind to that person, and I'm not saying that you're being unkind, but would I want that person to hear me say, I've lowered my standards to be with you? Probably not. Would I want her to say that to me? Like, would it be a kind thing for her to say, yeah, I'm sleeping with you because I'm lowering my standards? Probably not. And so what is the opposite of that? Or how would you phrase that in an opposite way? You'd say, I'm going to keep an open mind, or I'm going to be more open-minded. I'm going to look a little deeper to see the other lovable qualities in this person. Every single person has more than just one dimension to them. And I think as men, it's very tempting to just look at the outward appearance and be like, oh, she's hot, cool, great. I don't give a fuck about her personality. Like a lot of you guys that don't have a lot of experience, I can tell when you don't have a lot of experience because all you care about is the appearance. It's like the only thing that you focus on. But when you've met a few more women, had a little bit more sex, you start to realize, wait, a woman can be the hottest woman on the entire planet, but we don't really have compatibility. Or politely put, she drives me insane. I'm really not a fan of her personality. Maybe she's not kind to me. Maybe she's unkind to other people. Maybe she's a starfish in bed. I can't tell you how much, I phrase this in a clumsy way, bad sex I've had with some of the hottest women that I've ever met in my life, but they just laid there during bed and they wouldn't give anything back. And you try and encourage that and you say, hey, are you having fun? Does this feel good? Like, you're allowed to moan if it feels good. And they just lay there and do nothing. And then the opposite. I've met some women that maybe aren't, I'm trying to phrase this in a nice way, aren't like my absolute top pick for the hottest woman I've ever slept with, but holy shit, the sex is the best sex of my life because she just becomes an absolute banshee in the bedroom. She goes wild. She's passionate. We have chemistry. Like, you start to realize that chemistry is more than just physical appearance and actually has maybe more to do with how you interact with each other. Is she passionate? Is she not? Do you guys just click? There's almost like there's this French word for it. It's like je ne sais quoi, which kind of means like the intangibles or like the stuff that you don't necessarily recognize straight away. But once you get into the bedroom or once you meet each other and go on a date for a little bit, you start to realize, holy shit, I'm falling in love with this woman. Maybe not literally, but like, I love all this other stuff about her. So rather than saying lowering your standards, I would say keep more of an open mind. And I wrote an article about this a while ago. So if you're going to kill your inner loser, just search for the word open mind. You'll see this article, always keep an open mind. And I wrote this article many years ago, so the speech might be a little bit different to how I talk right now. I might have been a little bit more judgmental, but that's okay. And so always keep an open mind. I'm constantly pleasantly surprised by girls who turn out to be nothing like I thought they would be. Yeah, in other words, there's stuff deeper than just the surface level attractiveness. So long story short, I had met this girl on Bumble and I didn't phrase it in the nicest way, but she was a little bit plain looking to me in her photos. On the day we were due to meet, I had a strong sense of I can't be bothered meeting her. I actually really remember this girl very strongly. And I was very close to canceling because I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't feel a strong attraction over the pictures. And so I was sort of dragging my heels. Get off the screen, play to win video course. And I was close to canceling the date. I was dragging my heels, told myself a few times, come on, keep an open mind. You've been pleasantly surprised in the past. I texted her to tell her, I can't stay long, which is a little trick that I actually picked that up off girls. I had a female friend who used to do that when she wasn't super sure about a guy that she was going to meet. She would just text him or tell him beforehand and say, hey, I can't stay super long. Maybe I'll hang out for like half an hour and we can see if there's chemistry, and then I got stuff to do. And you're allowed to stay longer if you want to, but that at least gives you a nice little out. So again, I got that from a female friend, and I really liked that because it takes the pressure off you, it takes the pressure off the other person. And I had sort of told myself, I'll just stay for 20 minutes. And if there's no chemistry, I can leave. That's a nice little thing you can do for yourself. And it's a nice thing to do for the other person too. Like, wouldn't you rather if someone leave after 20 or 30 minutes if they're not into you, rather than sit there for like 3 hours wasting your time and then you find out later, yeah, they didn't feel the chemistry. Why did you sit with me for 3 fucking hours then? Just leave if you don't feel the chemistry. Yeah, just the bare minimum amount of FaceTime so I wasn't being rude by flaking. But as soon as I met her, I remember fucking vividly. I was like, God damn it, she's cuter than her pictures. Sometimes I actually, or now I always say it. I don't remember if I did this time, but sometimes this will happen. You meet someone who's like a reverse catfish. They're much cuter in person. I just tell them that. I'm like, holy shit, you are a reverse catfish. And they go, what does that mean? And you're like infinitely cuter than your pictures. Are you kidding me? Like, show me your profile again. Like, what the fuck are these pictures, woman? Like, I'll give you some help with these pictures, but like, god damn, woman, we got to take you some better pictures. Like, you're fucking hot. And these pictures are just not your best effort. So yeah, reverse catfish. We ended up having like a 2-hour date. It was one of the wildest sexual experiences of my life. We went into a park. Well, before that, we were making out a bunch, and I invited her back to my place. Or I think maybe I had a friend staying with me, so we couldn't go back to my place. But I basically said, like, yo, I want to make out with you. She's like, oh, but there's people around. I was like, what if we go to a park? It was at night. What if we go to a park where there's nobody there? And she's like, okay. So we go to this park. We start making out. We find this tree. We sit underneath this tree, quiet, empty park, nobody around. And she gave me like legitimately one of the best hand jobs of my entire life. It was insane. And she was this cute, shy, innocent little nerdy Asian bookworm girl. I think she was like 18 or 19 or 20 or something. And, university student. But holy shit, when we started making out, her sexual side came out. And she had this like almost dominant femdom energy. It was really incredible. Like, she's giving me a hand job under the tree and I'm getting close to coming and I'm like, I'm going to come. And then she just stops, pulls my underwear, like zips my pants back up and just stops and goes, I think that's enough. And I was like, where the fuck did this like femdom energy come from? I was like, woman, that is not, don't stop. That's not enough. Like, what are you doing? No, please, more. Keep going. And we make out for a little bit and I was like, please fucking keep going. Otherwise, I'm going to grab my fucking dick and jerk off right now. Like, I'm close to coming. And so she's like, okay. She starts giving me a hand job again. I was like, I'm going to come. Immediately again, she stops and she's like, I think that's enough for now. And I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, you're driving me crazy in the most amazing way. It was, to be very clear, she had a big smile on her face while she was doing this. She knew exactly what she was doing. And again, this is the most innocent, sweet Asian girl who I thought was just plain. And I had that mindset of like, I don't know if I'll meet her, but keep an open mind and something beautiful might happen. And I have like 100 of these stories of someone where, I don't know, I was just maybe not in an open-minded mood. Maybe I wasn't in a good mood. Maybe I was just tired. And my brain was saying, I don't know, cancel on the date. But I said, keep an open mind, go see what happens. And I did, and beautiful things happened. And long story short, she did end up making me come, in case any of you give a shit about that. We met a couple more times after that. She was amazing. And like I said, not at all what I was expecting. A lot of the time we have a preconceived notion about someone, or on a dating app, maybe all we can see is a couple of pictures and a little bit of a bio. It's not really the whole person. And you're missing that, the French word, je ne sais quoi. You're missing all of the other stuff that makes you fall in love with someone, or at least really, really, really like them. You're missing the sound of their voice, their giggle, the way they talk, the way their eyes gaze into yours. You're missing what it feels like to hold their hand, to kiss them, to smell their perfume or their cologne. You're missing so much. You're missing a chance to build a connection as well. Like, it's really hard to build a connection over a phone screen, which is why I say just get out on the date ASAP. Like, don't sit there texting for days or weeks. Just fucking send 3 or 4 messages max. And then say, hey, look, I'd really like to meet you. You seem so cool. You're obviously very attractive. Let me grab your phone number. We'll grab a drink or a coffee or something, see if there's proper chemistry there. Like, don't sit there texting for weeks. And here's the really funny part of the story. My current girlfriend, I wrote this many, many, many years ago. I was talking about Yumi. Drove me absolutely mad the first few times I banged her. This is true. We love to joke about this story. She was incredibly annoying and neurotic. Yeah, she was an anxious girl. It's something, she's worked on a lot over the last, it's been like 7 years at this point. But when I first met her at 18, yeah, I jokingly called her, and I told her that I called her this, Woody Allen, because any of you who know who Woody Allen is or have watched any of his movies, he plays an extremely neurotic character who's like anxious and neurotic and will like verbal diarrhea dump his neuroses onto people. And that was what she was doing. Like literally the first couple of times I met her, she's like, you know, you're probably not that into me. I'm probably not good enough for you. You probably sleep with other girls. And like before I can even like interrupt and be like, no, I like you. Calm down. You're hot. Everything's okay. She's like, oh my God, I'm talking too much. I'm probably annoying you right now. I'm probably being so annoying. Oh God, I should just shut up. Shut up, Imogen. Stop talking. Why am I talking? Why am I like this? And I was like, yo, chill. Stop. Everything's okay. I remember she was like that the very first time we had sex. Like we were back in my apartment. We were on my couch. I was just going to chill and have a drink with her and talk for a little bit. But immediately she's like, can we just hurry up and skip to the sex part? I'm so nervous right now. I can't do this. I can't sit here. I can't handle this anymore. And I was like, yo, chill. It's okay. Like I kind of brought her in for a big hug. We had a bit of a cuddle and I was like, it's okay. And I was just gently stroking her hair. And I was like, everything's okay. I promise it's okay. Yes, we can go into the bedroom in a little bit, but I would like to talk to you a little bit and chill and get to know you a bit. And I promise we will have sex. And we kind of just cuddled for a little bit. It was really nice. I remember stroking her hair. She was kind of shaking with nervousness and really awkward. And I held her for a little bit. And I love telling this story. She kind of, after I held her for like 10 minutes, she's like, you're being so nice to me right now. And I was like, it's okay. Like, yeah, I'm trying to be nice to you. And she's like, you're being so nice to me. I have to do something for you. Should I like clean your apartment? Should I give you a blowjob? Do you want me to give you a blowjob? Like, you're just being so nice to me right now. And I was like, chill. Everything's okay. Yes, you can give me a blowjob, but like, chill for a little. She's obviously come a long way since then. But yeah, like the first couple of times I saw her, after that, the neuroses and the anxiety was like very intense. And she was just nervous. She was 18. I was like the second person that she'd ever slept with. She was drunk at the time. The first couple of times we met, she had to get drunk just to meet because she was so socially awkward and anxious and all of that. And I had considered after like the second time that we slept together, sending her a text and just being like, hey, you seem like a sweet girl, but I'm not really feeling the chemistry or I don't want to see each other anymore. Like, yeah, let's go separate ways. I considered that. I really came close to it. But I sort of said to myself, why don't I just see her a couple more times? Maybe invite her or tell her to come and see me sober. Like maybe the alcohol is what's making her so neurotic. And maybe she'll calm down if we just see each other a couple of times. Maybe she'll be a bit more peaceful. She'll be able to relax in my presence. She's just nervous. She's even said she's nervous. Like she's clearly nervous. Maybe she'll relax a bit. And she did. The third time we met, she was a little bit more comfortable. And then a couple of times after that, she was able to be sober when she came to me and we just didn't drink at all. And yeah, now obviously she's been my life partner for the last 7 years at this point. So I have tons more stories like this. Like back in, what is this, October 2018, so long time now, like 6.5 years ago, there was this girl that I matched with on Tinder, very attractive, obviously. She was hotter than her pictures in person, like incredibly attractive. I just did my usual upfront, I was very autistically honest, even all the way back then. Hey, you're sexy, I'm Andy, I'm looking for something specific on here. What is that? Do you have experience with BDSM or being submissive? Is it something you want to explore? Don't have much experience, but I'm open to exploring it. Good girl. What part of Melbourne are you from? I'm in the CBD. I'm at blah, 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 blah. Cool, let's grab a drink. So you see, like I said, keep it short. 1, 2, 3, 4 messages, and then we're onto the phone number. And then when I get the phone number, it's just, hey, let's grab that drink. Are you free Friday, 6 p.m. or whatever? Sure. Where should I meet you? Meet me here. Cool, great, can't wait. That's it. But on this day, I really, really, really didn't want to meet her the day we were going to meet. Like, I really came close to canceling. I was super tired. I was in a bad mood. I just wanted to cancel the date and go to bed instead. And if I'm honest, she was one of the most attractive women, or the hottest woman that I had met at that point. And I think I was like self-sabotaging. I think there was a little part of me that's like, like a lot of you, I don't want to be rejected by someone that's really hot because it will make me feel shit about myself. So I should just cancel the date and then she can't reject me. But I kind of talked myself into it. I was in a group chat with a couple of friends, and just before the date, I texted this. I literally said, I'm meeting a chick in 20 minutes. I really fucking don't want to go. I would rather go to bed. But I'm leaving this here so that when I inevitably post to you guys, oh my God, this chick was wild. I'm so glad I met her. Future me won't whine about being too tired for a date. And one of my friends at the time, Steve, said, this is the part where we tell you that you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. Beautiful thing to write to me. I go on to say she was more attractive than her pictures. She was really sweet too. I think she was like a circus performer or something. I don't know if I'm making that up. I don't think I am making that up. I think she was like, or a trapeze artist or something. She did something where she was like super athletic and yeah, anyway, I go on to describe the sex. It was pretty amazing. And yeah, I remember this bit actually. She kept smiling at everything. It was very cute. Like I handcuffed her, she smiled. I blindfolded her. She had this giant smile on her face. Like it was really fun. I really enjoy the aspect of like exploring kink and BDSM and all of that and tantric sex and gentle sex and all of that with people that haven't really done it before because they tend to be like so excited. Some of them are nervous, obviously, but you can just be gentle with them and go slow and ask if they're having fun and all of that. But yeah, I remember this. She kept smiling and giggling when I spanked her. It was really fun. I like sharing this aspect of sexuality with someone that hasn't done it before. And so, like I go on to say, I was on the verge of not meeting this woman because I really wasn't in the mood and couldn't be bothered, and she turned out to be one of the most attractive people or the hottest girls that I had banged at the time. And true to my word, I never complained about being too tired for a date ever again. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, yeah. So this really helped me keep an open mind. And I like this bit here that I said, every time you don't go on a date, you're depriving the girl or the guy, the other person, of meeting you. You two might end up being a couple, and you would have deprived her or him of that chance had you pussied out. I wouldn't say pussy out now, but yeah. You're actually being an asshole to girls if you don't meet them. They deserve to meet an awesome guy like you. Yeah, and for you girls out there that are a little nervous to make a move or to talk to that cute guy at the coffee shop that you have your eye on, what if you guys would end up fucking getting married or something? You're kind of depriving your future self and him of that opportunity. And even if you don't, even if he has a girlfriend or he's not available, why not just talk to him anyway? And then you find that out. And now you get to move on and go talk to the next person. So yeah, keeping an open mind really helps. And let's finish up with this comment by Methods57. Had a call early February with Andy. I was really on the fence with it as it was a lot of money due to a poor exchange rate and due to some issues of guilt around spending money. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I sometimes feel a bit of guilt when I spend money, and sometimes I take a deep breath before I sign up for a coaching program or pay for a therapist or pay for something like that. There is like a little bit of me, a little bit of that part of me that's like, but you're parting with your hard-earned money. And it's like, this wasn't my money in the first place. Someone else gave me their money. So is it really my money? I think a lot of us attach very strongly to money and we put a lot of worth around it. I do the same thing. Imogen definitely does. All of my friends do. It's a very normal thing, but I think guilt around spending money is pretty fucking normal. Like, if any of you feel the same, I get it. Don't stress. You're normal. I booked the call at a particularly bad time when I was in a bit of a low, which is funny because a lot of you do the same thing where you're like, I'll sign up for coaching, either Andy's coaching program or some other coach or therapy or something when it's the right time. And it's like, when you're in a bit of a low, isn't that the exact time that you would want coaching? A lot of you are like, I'll wait till I get my shit together and then I'll pay for the coaching because then I can make the most of it. And it's like, that would be the time you would least need the coaching. Like the best time to sign up for coaching is whatever time you think is the worst time. Like understand that you as a coaching client or you in the audience listening, when you think it's a bad time to go and talk to that cute girl or go to the gym or sign up for coaching or pay a therapist or lose weight or whatever, whenever you think it's a bad time, you have it completely 180% the wrong way. It's like the best time. So he goes on to say, and I have to say, despite my skepticism, not of Andy, but rather of being able to turn my life around, I found it to be very valuable. Andy pointed out a lot of negative self-talk that whilst I knew was there, I didn't realize how ingrained it had become. He suggested ways to reframe these things. Yeah, how many of you can relate to that? It's like, you really don't, I've said this before, a lot of you maybe don't realize that you're framing things in what we might call a very negative way. And you think you're being realistic, but are you really just being negative? Like a lot of you think that you have the monopoly on truth when it comes to yourself and your life and women and the world and all of that. And you will state things as if they are a fact. Like you will say, it's too late for me. I'm too old. I can't build a dating life. I missed out. And you say it as if it's a fact, when really it's just a hypothesis or it's your opinion. And you couldn't be more wrong. And rather than being open minded and saying, I feel like it's not the right time or I feel like it's too late, why don't I just go and find out? You give up already. You say, like, what's the point? I know it's too late. And I've talked about this a lot. If we could just attach a little bit less to our opinions or our ego or our thoughts or our brain, like if we could insert a little bit of doubt in there, I think it's too late for me, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Man, you would go out and take way more action. If you say something can't be done, then yeah, you're correct. If you say something can be done, then yeah, you're correct. It's all just a story or a framing of how you, I guess, describe yourself, how you view yourself, how you frame yourself, and women and the wider world and all of that sort of stuff. If you say it's impossible, yep, you're correct. If you say it's possible, you're correct. And what he said here about how I suggested or I gave him some tools to reframe things, yeah, that's obviously a big part of my content, like the stuff that you're listening to right now. It's a big part of the coaching is like people will come with statements about themselves and their life and the world, and they don't realize that they're limiting beliefs. They genuinely think that they're telling the truth. Like I said, a lot of you genuinely think that you are stating a fact or a truth, like something objectively true. And it's like, bro, that's a very negative way of framing that. And a lot of people are blown away by that. They're like, I'm not being negative. I'm just telling you how it is. And you're like, well, what if we viewed it like this? What if we viewed it in a more positive way like this? Try this on, see how this feels. And they try that statement, that more positive statement, and they go, whoa, this feels way better. All of a sudden, I don't feel hopeless. I don't feel like shit. I actually feel like going outside and talking to women or starting my business. When I frame it in this more positive way, I feel like taking action. And you're like, yeah, this is the basis of reframing or stoicism or Buddhism or fucking enlightenment. Any of this stuff is like, can I be less attached to my limiting beliefs and my negative thoughts that I might not even know are negative thoughts? I might genuinely think I'm just telling the truth. Yeah, I am a piece of shit. That is true. And you're like, well, why would that be true? And you're like, well, here's all this evidence as to why I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, well, here's all this evidence as to why you're a great person. And you look at my evidence and you go, whoa, that feels better when I believe that story. So it's all just a story. You can believe whatever story you want, but I prefer to believe the positive stories about myself, about other people, about women, about men, about the world, about society, because then I'm more empowered to take action. If I believe my own negative thoughts, I won't take action. So he goes on to say he took his time and was patient and made sure everything I wanted to cover was covered. I felt no time pressure or need to get through it quickly at all. Yeah, I do this on all my coaching calls. Like, I never limit them by time. We can sit there for hours if we need to. I think my longest call ever was like 5.5 hours. That was a funny little story. I coached this guy who was considering breaking up with his girlfriend. They were having some relationship problems. And so I coached him for like 2.5 hours, like maybe 3 hours. We went through everything, all of that. And then he's like, yeah, I wish my girlfriend could speak to you. I wish my girlfriend could like have a therapist because you really helped me. And I was like, well, I mean, if you want to, like, you can go and get her and we can talk for a little bit now. I can talk to her alone or I can talk to both of you. Maybe not too long because I'm tired. I've just sat here for like 2.5 or 3 hours, but you can get her if you want to. Like, do you want to? And he's like, let me go find out. So he goes, talks to her, comes back like 5 minutes later and he's like, yeah, dude, like, are you willing to, are you sure? Like, do you want me to pay you again? I was like, nah, bro, it's fine. Like, I'll just talk to her for like 15 minutes. I ended up talking to her, like alone, just her, for like another 2.5 hours. So it ended up being this like 5 hour or 6 hour session. It was a marathon session. It felt like I had coached, I had coached one person, poured everything I had into him. I was done. I was spent. I was exhausted. And then it's like, all right, now run another marathon. It's like you just finished Dark Souls 1. Now I'll finish Dark Souls 2. It was fun. It was incredibly fun. I did it obviously because I wanted to, but it was so cool. It was really cool to hear like his perspective and his viewpoint in the relationship and then be able to hear her side of the story. And I coached each of them separately and I told both of them I was going to do this. I said, look, if you put your girlfriend on, I'm going to say what I believe to be in her best interest. I'm not going to pick a side. I'm going to coach and love the person that's sitting in front of me. And if I'm not going to tell someone what to do, but if she starts to explore the idea of breaking up with you, I'm not going to talk her out of that. I'm going to explore that. And he's like, yeah, dude, like I just ultimately want her to do what's good for her and me to do what's good for me. And if that means we stay together, great. If we separate, great. I just want us both to be happy. So that was a marathon session. She was a beautiful person too. She was so fucking unbelievably vulnerable and sweet. And she opened up so much. She was really hesitant at first. When I first sat down with her, she was kind of a little bit guarded. And she later told me, I was kind of worried that you were going to pick sides. And because he's a man and you're a man, and your content a lot of the time talks about men's self-improvement, I thought you were going to be on his side. And I was like, no, I'm on team humanity. I want you both to be happy. I want to facilitate that however I can. So that was a really fun call. That was incredibly fun. That was like couples counseling, but like separately. So bottom line, there's no rush in my coaching calls. This guy goes on to say he helped me identify some things that I truly want from my life as a starting point and took issues seriously, such as my struggle with emotional eating and weight loss. He also helped me identify things that I didn't want from my life and was the first person to ever acknowledge that not wanting them was okay. Yeah, so many of you guys and girls put this pressure on yourself that you should do certain things. You have to do certain things. And this guy did the same thing. He's like, but I have to do this job. I have to go and work here. And I was like, why? Nobody's got a gun to your head. And he said, but I have to. Otherwise, how will I pay the bills? And I was like, well, first of all, there's a million jobs you could work to pay the bills. Second of all, you could just not go and get a job, go walk around outside, walk up to strangers, say, can I please have $1? And you could make more than enough money to pay the bills, especially if you downsize and sell a bunch of shit and all of that. You don't need a job at all. You have a job because it's a beautiful expression of, I don't know, your own creativity, your own ability to give something back to society. It gives you a little bit more money, so you have more stuff to buy, more money to buy beautiful things. Like, having a job is not a necessity. It's something that's a bonus. It's something you can be grateful for. So having that conversation with him blew his fucking mind. And then I was like, what do you want to do? And he was like, I think I want to go and get a job because now I'm doing it because I want to, not because I have to, not because I feel guilty. I'm now doing this out of excitement. I'm excited to go and get a job rather than I feel guilty that I haven't got a job. So yeah, do things out of excitement, out of love, out of energy, out of motivation, rather than guilt and shame and fear and all of that. Because guilt and shame and fear are just not as empowering. It's way harder to go and talk to a bunch of women or go to the gym or get a job when you're there out of guilt and shame and fear. Like, it's much easier with a little bit of excitement. He goes on to say, I still have a long way to go to even achieve one of the things I want. Yeah, because it's only been like fucking 2 weeks. And I still have limiting beliefs holding me back as there is only so much that can be covered in a couple of hours, but the call gave me some much needed perspective of where I am at and how to start working towards what is next. Beautiful, amazing. Yeah, this guy was a joy to work with. I really liked working with this guy. I know we only did one call, but it was like 3 hours. You get to know someone a little bit over a couple of hours. Maybe it was like 2 hours, but yeah, he was a joy. So if any of you want the same thing, you want to do one of those $200 coaching calls, there's a link down in the description below to those. And if you click that link, it takes you to this nice page here. You can literally just come in here and book a time, book a day that suits you. Brilliant, blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of other nice little messages from other people that I've done these calls with. And, you know, don't be put off by the fact that it's just one call. I promise we can do a hell of a lot in one call. You know, you can kind of read through some of these, and some of those people have done the calls and gone on to join the proper coaching program, which is why I offer these calls for only $200, you know, which is quite a bit of a discount compared to how I would normally price my one-on-one time, because some of these people end up signing up for the proper coaching program. So it's worth it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, love you all very much. You're all absolutely fabulous human beings. Like I said, if you want more help, there are these $200 coaching calls that I offer. I also have my big, hardcore, all-in coaching program, and we have payment plans for that. I'm happy to sit with you on a free call, talk through all of that. I won't put any pressure on you in any way, shape, or form. I actually did one of these calls yesterday, and we sat there for like 2 hours, and I basically gave the guy free coaching. Then at the end of it, I said, yeah, so do you want the coaching? He was like, I'm kind of on the fence, man. I don't know. Can I go away and think about it? I was like, yeah, bro, that's beautiful. And he felt a little bit guilty. He literally said several times, I feel guilty, man, that I've wasted 2.5 hours of your time. And I was like, bro, like, you didn't have anything to feel guilty about. I got a lot out of this. I got to meet you. I got to coach you, which I enjoy. I now have more, I guess you would say, knowledge when I coach the next person, because you're like an extra number in the sample size, if that makes sense. Like, every person that I coach, whether it's paid or free or this content or live streams or whatever, helps make me a better coach. I learned something. So I was like, bro, I appreciate you. bottom line I'm saying here is I put no pressure on him. I was just like, dude, if you don't want to sign up for coaching, I don't want you to sign up for coaching. Like, why would I want someone to be there if they don't want to be there? So if the idea of a free, chill fucking call where we can discuss the coaching program, discuss your life, figure out what you want, and all of that appeals to you, there are links in the description below to that. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there, crush those goals, and to fucking prove to you what I said at the start of this episode, I'm not wearing any pants. Here you go. Ready? You want to see my dick? You want to see my fucking dick? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Here you go. Get the fuck out of here. Why are you trying to look at my private parts? That's